This afternoon, we are going to be talking about what is early intervention, and why it's important, and what you can do if you feel that you need early intervention, or what are the signs that you may possibly need early intervention. So, I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes to log in, and then I will get started. So as we go through the slides today, I'm going to go through a little bit of information, and then at the end, I'm going to flip back over to the live so that I can see any questions and answer any questions that you guys may have on any of the information that is shared today. So we're going to talk about the importance of early intervention. My name is Kristen Blow, and I am a BCBA. And I typically work with kids anywhere from the ages of 2 to 12, and some older. So what early intervention is it's a term that's used to describe the services and supports that are available to infants and toddlers with developmental disabilities or delays and their families. Early intervention is typically provided to those that are ages 3 and under. These services can include anything from speech therapy to physical therapy, ABA services. There's a whole list of services that you could get depending on the needs of your child and your family. And they're available for the child and family, so that way there are family-directed services that will help the family to be able to understand the needs of their child and how they can enhance their development. Sometimes, this is our first encounter with these kind of disabilities or delays, and the families may not know what to do, or everyone in the family may not understand exactly what's going on. So it's really cool that these services are available to help the family also understand and be able to interact with the child and help them. And they can have a significant impact on the child's ability to learn new skills and overcome challenges, that can increase their success in school and in life as they continue to develop throughout the years. Early intervention services that may be available are applied behavior analysis. These services will be provided by a BCBA, and under the BCBA, there are RBTs that will work directly with your child. ABA is an evidence-based science that focuses on understanding and improving human behavior. There's also speech therapy, which will be provided by a speech language pathologist. And with this service, you'll get assessments and treatments of communication problems and speech disorders. There is physical therapy that will be provided by a physical therapist. Physical therapy helps individuals to improve or restore mobility and prevent or manage health conditions that may come from these. Occupational therapy is provided by an occupational therapist, and these services are used to promote function and engagement in daily activities, including rest and sleep, play, education, social interaction, any sensory issues that you may be seeing. That's where an occupational therapist can come in. And there's also nutrition services, which would be provided by a registered dietitian. And what they would do is assess the nutritional needs of the child and correct any nutritional deficiencies that may be occurring. So the one thing that we need to know is, how do you know when you need to seek early intervention? So if you feel that your child is not meeting developmental milestones, if you feel like they are delayed, there are certain skills that they should be exhibiting that are not being exhibited at this point, you do not have to wait for a referral. You can call your pediatrician, you can contact your local intervention agency. You can take those steps on your own to get the help that you feel is needed for your family. If your child is over the age of 3, you can contact your local elementary school or board of education, and they will be able to help you to find the services that you need and get any assessments that you may need for your child. Areas that you may see delays in can include cognitive development, physical development, which is including vision and hearing as well, communication development, social or emotional development, or adaptive development. So here I've kind of put some things that your child should be doing around these ages. One thing that's important to remember is that all children do not develop at the same rate. So if you're just seeing maybe one or two things that aren't happening, you can give it a little bit of time before you get really concerned. But these are the things that we should be looking for. When you have a 0 to 3 month old, they should be making some sort of eye contact. They can acknowledge sounds that are around them. If you're singing behind them or if you shake or rattle, you should see them kind of acknowledge those noises. They'll start to smile, raising their head. They'll start grasping at objects and reaching for objects that are close to them that might be of interest to them. If you have a 3 to 6 month old, and you'll see in some of these age ranges, we'll see some things that'll overlap because, again, these are things that could be happening within any of this time. So again, you might see them grasping for objects. At 3 to 6 months old, you may start to hear them babbling. They'll roll over, they'll start laughing. They can move objects from hand to hand, and they'll start exploring different objects using their hands and their mouth. So this is kind of where the exploratory play phase comes in. When you have a child that is 6 to 12 months old, you will start to have them respond to their name. And that doesn't really mean with the sound or anything. You might just see them turn their head in the direction or look for the person that's saying their name. They'll sit up without support. They'll start babbling simple words and sounds like mama, dada, begin imitating others. They might begin imitating your actions, trying to imitate your sounds. And this is where you'll see them start crawling or walking. Some kids start walking earlier than others, we know this for a fact. So anywhere between 6 and 12 months, you'll see your child start to crawl, start pulling up on things, trying to keep their balance and walking around. At 12 to 18 months, they should be walking. They can start saying small words, other words that other than mama and dada, maybe juice, or if they're hungry. It's really going to just depend on what their motivation is. They'll start drinking from a sippy cup. Their imitation is going to become stronger. So you'll be able to do more of those peekaboo games, things like that, where they're imitating what you're doing. They may be able to point to body parts on others if you label them. They may also be able to find them on themselves, just depending. And they will start to enjoy being around other children, or at least noticing when other kids are around and being interested in what they're doing. At 18 months to 2 years old, you'll start to see that they are walking independently. They may start running and jumping. They'll start speaking in 2-word phrases, just simple phrases, maybe want juice, pick up, simple words like that. They'll begin the make-believe play where they're using bowls as hats, or they're using, bowls as drums, anything like that. They can start following simple directions, clean up, come here, sit down, stand up, small things like that. And they begin to label familiar people and items. So they would know mom and dad, maybe if they have siblings or grandparents that are around often, their favorite toys, maybe TV shows, their favorite foods. You'll have them start to label those things and be able to tell you what those different things and those people are. And they may start doing some simple sorting of shapes and colors. So this is where you start to see them playing with their shape sorters, maybe doing some inset puzzles, different things like that. And then at 2 to 3, you'll start seeing them climbing. They'll speak in multi-word sentences. They're getting better at the sorting of shapes and colors, and they're able to express emotions more openly. They're able to kind of tell you when they're tired, when they're hungry, that they're happy. They're able to show affection. These are different emotional skills that you'll start to see. And unfamiliar adults are more able to understand what they're saying most of the time. That's something like, when they're first learning to speak, you may have people who are unfamiliar with them are not going to really understand what they're saying sometimes, especially because a lot of kids like to have their own special words or phrases for their special items that they have. But as they get older, unfamiliar adults will be able to kind of tell what they're asking for. So here I just kind of talked about what you're looking for from 0 to 3 months. I've added kind of a little milestone map here, and this kind of goes over anything up to the age of 5, because again, sometimes you will start to notice these delays and deficits as early as 3 months. Sometimes it may be 3 years before you're really noticing these deficits. So it doesn't really have a time frame on when you're going to notice these things or when these delays will start to happen. So this is just kind of a map and guideline of what you can look for your kids to be doing. And if they're not doing these specific things, then you can start to reach out and ask for help or ask for information if you feel that there's a delay occurring. So once you contact your doctor or you contact an agency and you get a referral, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to be assigned a case manager. And this case manager is going to set up an intake meeting with you and your family. They'll be able to meet you, meet your child, discuss what your concerns are. In some cases, they may even do a little informal assessment where they just kind of look at what skills your child currently has, what skills they may be missing. And with all the information that they gather, this will show your child's strengths and any areas of development that they might benefit from some early intervention with. And they will use this when they're determining eligibility. So eligibility is going to be determined through a variety of methods. They will observe your child. There's going to be interviews, and then there'll be a couple of different standardized measures of health and development. They'll do a couple of different assessments to see kind of where they're at, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, are they missing any key skills that are going to help with their development moving forward. So if your child is determined eligible for services, what will then happen is that there will be a treatment plan that's written, and your case manager will connect you with the appropriate providers. And from there, those providers will they will sit down with you, they will discuss what's been written in the treatment plan, and they will go over everything that will be going on with their treatment from here on out. And the important thing to know is that during this time when we're making the treatment plan and when all these things are being put together, you are your child's biggest advocate and your child's biggest fan. So make sure that you're being heard. There are going to be times where you may not agree with the therapist, and it's a good thing for you both to sit down and to hear each other out, to know exactly, so make sure that you're on the same page on what you're working on and what's important to you and to your family for your child's development. If your child is not determined to be eligible, the caseworker can work with you to connect you with services that might be more appropriate moving forward. So maybe your child is a little bit delayed, but isn't so significantly delayed that they feel that a full early intervention is needed. They may be able to just tell you, maybe you just need speech therapy services, or maybe we need to just give it a little bit more time. In instances like that, if they do tell you that you need maybe to just give it a little more time, if you feel that you've given it time and you feel that you would like to get something going, it is also your right to go ahead and get a second opinion at that point. There are a lot of benefits when it comes to early intervention. So when you look at the services that are offered and what it can do for your family and your child, it can improve and enhance the development of a child with developmental delays. When you go to these different services and these different agencies, the biggest thing is that they're looking at what skill deficits are your children or your child displaying, and what can we do to close the gap on those deficits? What can we do to help them improve these skills and have a better understanding so that later on when they're in school or they're in preschool and they're interacting with others, what is going to make it easier for them? Early intervention services typically occur in your child's natural environment and becomes a part of their routine. So it's something that they become more comfortable with. When we come into your environment and we're helping in an environment that they're used to, it's less of it's less anxiety because they're used to this environment that they're in. So we can come into their environment and we can pair with the things that they're used to. We can pair with the family. We can make them comfortable with being around us. And that's going to be the first step of any therapy and any service that you get, is that you're going to find that your therapist is going to make sure that you and your child feel comfortable with everything that's going on. Early intervention services can teach your child and help them learn through play. So that's a great thing. Younger kids are constantly on the move. They're interested in so many different things. So by us teaching them through play, it's less of a, sit down here, we're going to learn. It's more of a fun activity that they're being able to engage in. So it makes learning fun. It teaches them that learning is something that is not always so cumbersome. It can be a very fun experience. And that is our biggest goal. We want to make sure that they're able to learn and that they're enjoying the experience of learning. It provides assistance and support to empower the families. Again, as parents, as families, as loved ones, we are always the child's biggest advocate. So the more support that we're given as families, the more information that is given, the easier it is for us to be able to advocate for what is needed. If you feel that the services are not working, if you feel that something is not being targeted that you really want to work on, it is always okay to make sure that you are explaining this to your therapist, that you are communicating with them and just really letting them know what it is you're looking for. And there may be a reason that they are providing services the way they're providing them, and they may just be needing to do one step before getting to the step that you're really looking for. So it's always good to make sure you have that open line of communication so that you can continue to have that, so that you can continue to advocate for your child and continue to make sure that they're getting all the services that they need. It helps to build a foundation for learning. As I was saying before, when you are teaching children, the funny thing is that, we kind of look at, you go to school, you sit down, you just sit down, you start listening to the teacher and you learn, but that's not always the way that it goes. So what we always want to do is give them that good foundation. You have to teach these skills. They don't just go into school knowing that you sit down here or that, we eat at snack time, we eat at lunchtime. Everybody kind of has their own routines when they're in their home. So when you go into a different learning environment, it's good to make sure that we have taught these foundation skills for what is kind of expected when you're learning. By giving them these skills, it may reduce the need for specialized instruction as they move further in education. I've had kids that I've worked with who could not leave their parents, who did not have functional communication. They could only label different things, but when they spoke to you, it was never an actual functional conversation. And through teaching these different skills and shaping them to be able to leave their parents and shaping them to be able to have conversation and to understand what other people are looking for and what these expectations are, I've seen these children be able to go into school where they're only needing pullouts rather than needing a full-time aide or needing to be in a separate learning setting. So these different foundations and skills that these kids are going to learn during early intervention can really benefit them moving forward. You also will see that the earlier that you begin teaching the skill deficits, the better opportunity for learning skills in the future. So again, when kids are young and small, that is when they are their brains are most easily able to be shaped. That's when we're really able to get in there and start teaching those skills that we feel like they may be missing And so it's never too early. You always want to know that if you are feeling concerned about your child's development, it is okay to reach out to your doctor. If you are concerned and your doctor says that you have no reason to be concerned, you're always able to go get a second opinion. You know your child better than anyone else. And so if you feel that your child needs help or needs these services, you can advocate for them at any time. It's never too late as well. That's the other thing we always want to remember. Early intervention is typically for children that are 3 and under, but there are also services once you have passed that threshold. So if you feel like your child has been typically developing and then you start to see some delays once they hit 3 and 4, still reach out to their teachers, reach out to the school, reach out to your pediatrician, because you never know. And it's better to be informed and to have those opinions and make sure that if there is something going on, that you're able to kind of hit it off at the head and really just get them the help that they need. The earlier that we can get in there and help build these skills, the better. So early intervention is something that I think is a great service that's provided everywhere. You can get early intervention no matter where you are. So reach out to your pediatrician's office if you don't know where you can get these services. They should be able to give you referrals. And there's a lot of information on the CDC's website. They can give you a lot of information as far as milestones, as far as when to be concerned, who to contact. So that's a great resource to use as well. And that was all that I had on my slides. Does anybody have any questions or any information that I can give before we go? All right, well, that went a lot quicker than I thought it would. Again, if you have any questions on early intervention, please feel free to reach out. If there's anything that I missed that you would like to know about, please feel free to ask any questions, to send an email at any time. I'm going to put my email here. And I hope that you guys found this useful. I am looking forward to having more of these. On Monday, I will be doing a communication training at 3:00. We will be talking about the different ways to communicate with our kids. We will be going over PECs and assistive technology. So I look forward to talking to you guys then. And again, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or need any further information. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I look forward to talking to you on Monday. Y'all have a great day.